Why can't people have access to voluntary euthanasia? Some opponents to euthanasia, and please note that I'm just saying some of them, seem to have the same misconception about both abortion and euthanasia. That if it were legal, referring to countries where abortion isn't allowed, people would just abort, euthanize at the drop of a hat. Like it's no big deal. They don't seem to realize that it's highly regulated and absolutely not taken lightly. Clinics that practice euthanasia impose a very long process with strict psychological monitoring, among other measures. We've got euthanasia in Belgium since 2002. My uncle asked for it. Thank you for asking this question. I have tried to post in several times and apparently the wording wasn't appropriate. I saw a video of a woman on a bridge that was forcibly saved by a random passerby and felt offended by the action. It feels ridiculous to make a judgment about this person's life and circumstances and assume that she and others, because they always have to talk about those you leave behind, will be better for the interference with her intentions. I saw a few interesting TED Talks that covered euthanasia from multiple perspectives and it seemed to have a common theme: misunderstanding of the process, the types of euthanasia available, and how death is treated, looked at in general. Death isn't viewed as a part of a life cycle while hope is given too much with a prognosis. For example, if I were to have cancer, I would want to know how much time I have left so I can choose how to spend it with those I love, instead of a treatment that might prolong my life for 6 more months. The hope is given to a patient of this treatment instead of, this is how much time you have left, and helping someone transition to end-of-life cycle. Lastly, I feel euthanasia is still a taboo topic, especially for those that are very religious. Choosing to end your own life, no matter the circumstances, is considered a sin in a majority of religions. For me, it's one of those topics I feel needs to be separated from politics, and approved for those who would like to pass however they choose. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Here in the Netherlands there is an ongoing discussion whether to allow this. We already have euthanasia for suffering people who want to end it, but not yet what we call voluntary for people who simply want to die. Opponents fear that we might end up killing people who in hindsight might have wanted to continue living but were just going through a rough time. They also think it is our job to take care of people, whether they want it or not. Proponents say that there is a thorough medical check done by professionals to determine whether the mental will to die is treatable, i.e., treatable depression causing it, and will only go through with euthanasia if it is confirmed that there is no treatment and the wish to die is consistent and strong. Proponents also say that this will cause a lot of people who commit suicide right now to go to the doctor instead to ask for euthanasia, which might in the end save lives of people with treatable depression wanting to kill themselves, and more humanely kill those with an untreatable will to die. I personally hope we'll have it soon. There are examples of people who simply want to die and have been wanting it consistently for years, for no other reason than that they do not want to continue living. No depression, nothing treatable, just a will to die. Why would we not help them? Because of some paternalistic idea of saving them? I'm living against my will. I want the right to die. I overthink before committing suicide because lots of methods have high risk of survival with becoming disabled. Because we care more about our pets than we do each other. There is also the religious issue where an imaginary deity in the sky will punish you for this specific choice but forgive you for every other decision that was all conceived along the way. One problem is consent. As it is with a lot of things. Someone who is in a comatose state cannot say they want euthanasia. And they might wake up and be able to continue life just fine. Their family should not be able to end their life. Someone in extreme distress may want euthanized, when in reality they need serious help and will be able to continue life happily given proper therapy. They should not be allowed to make decisions like that when they're not in their right mind. Someone who was just diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and knows that they will have a long and excruciating road ahead that will inevitably end in death should be able to choose euthanasia so they may die on their own terms, comfortably. There's not really a right answer on why people can and cannot have euthanasia, and it should be a discussion with an experienced doctor on a case-by-case basis. We've just legislated it in Tasmania, Australia. Usually it's because family members refuse to let somebody go. Which is really shitty because most of the time it would be a family member that visits once a year. For a few hours and everything is all hunky-dory. They would say stuff like, "I just don't know what I would do without them." You'd probably do the same thing you did the other 364 days out of the year. Hospitals tend to not be a place that wants to kill people, but it likely isn't going to be something they fight for since it likely is too much of a liability and you'd have a lot of people in the field straight up refuse to do it. Also, pharmaceutical companies profit a lot from prolonging life and unnecessary pain, especially in the U.S. It's hard to make money off of dead people. What about people who are mentally unstable? Should they be allowed that choice?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.